Hello, dear friends, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Didn't record much last couple of weeks, but I'm preparing something interesting. I hope all of you will like it. Uh, but today I decided to record this video and to show and even recommend some lines. In this game, Murali Karthikeyan won against Raja Rithvik, Menorca Open. This game has been played on 26th of April 2025, just a couple of days ago. Uh, yes, about Murali Karthikeyan 2651, Raja Rithvik 2538. Very strong, high-rated Indian players. So let's go. E4, c5, knight f3, d6, d4 takes knight f6, knight c3, a6. For those who are looking for some new, unique, interesting ideas against Najdorf, definitely you should check this game out. Bishop c4. And here e6 is the best continuation. For example, if you try some b5, then bishop d5. Knight takes d5, it takes d, and then short castle is coming, rook e1. Black is facing a lot of difficulties. So e6, short castle, and here Raja Rithvik played b5. Very interesting move. I also checked some other moves. For example, here knight bd7 is a huge mistake and blunder. After bishop e6, f takes e, knight takes e6. Doesn't matter where do you go, queen b6 or queen a5. I'm just jumping with the knight to d5, threatening knight c7. And if you take knight d5, then e takes d comes. So white is winning. If you try, instead of going knight bd7, knight c6, then simply I'm taking. And here I do have two moves, queen e2 or bishop f4. Anyway, white is having a better position. Another serious alternative to a b5 move is to play bishop e7. Here, probably the best is to play a4, stopping b5. For example, if you try something like f4, then b5. Black already has slightly preferable position. I just remembered my game against Murali Karthikeyan, online game, maybe even a blitz game. So he played rook e1, not the strongest, b5 and bishop d3 anyway. And now I played short castle, a4, b4, knight a2, attacking my pawn on b4, and e5. Very typical idea. We move away knight from d4, and then we simply get our knight on c6. Let's say here, computer already says black is slightly better. So I didn't find anything better for white in this position, and computers are suggesting a2 a4 just to stop b5. Anyway, b5, and here white is having two moves, bishop d3 and bishop b3. Bishop b3 is the old theoretical line, bishop e7, now queen f3. If you go f4, then after knight bd7, black is better. All possible sacrifices on e6 does not work because of queen b6 check in the end of the line. So queen f3 with the ideas to go queen g3 or to play e4, e5. Here black is having a few interesting ideas. One of them is to play queen b6, bishop e3, queen b7. And after queen g3, black is choosing between short castle, b4, or even h5. Yes, I remember uh, back in my childhood, the strongest continuation was short castle. But another move, instead of playing queen b6, queen c7 is also very interesting. Uh, You go queen g3, and now again black is having some alternative, short castle, even rook g8, but I recommend this knight c6. For example, queen g7 does not work because of rook g8, and then we are winning some material. If you take, takes, and again queen g7 does not work because of rook g8, in the end we just take on e4. If you play knight f5, which is the strongest continuation, e takes f, queen g7, rook f8, bishop g5, threatening bishop f6, and now queen d8 is possible. I also recommend this b4, takes, takes, and bishop d7, so black does not have any problems. So this is about bishop b3, bishop d3. This is the new idea, new concept. First going bishop c4, kind of provoking b5, and then retreating the bishop to d3. And now bishop b7 by Raja Rithvik. Another alternative is to play bishop e7. And already white should play something very interesting, which is b4. And then preparing a4. Because if you start with a4, I don't recommend b takes a, because always white takes with the rook on a4, and you are having some weaknesses, which is not that easy to attack, but at least you are not having b5, b4 ideas, and white has open a file. Some knight b3, knight i5 ideas are always possible when black is developing the bishop on b7. So b4, knight a2, attacking the pawn on b4, and now e5. Again, typical e5 idea, moving the knight away, and knight is coming to c6. For example, knight f3, knight c6, even if you play this, black is having knight c6 or d5. So bishop b7 was played by Raja, and rook e1. And now, not much options are there. If you try some knight c6, then takes, takes, knight d5 is working. So the strongest continuation is to go bishop e7, knight d7, no doubts, white is already better. If you accept the sacrifice, knight takes d5, it takes d, bishop d5, then bishop b5 comes, then white is taking queen d5. If instead of knight c6 you go b4, then knight d5 ideas are working, white is already much better. If you try knight bd7, typical idea, knight is coming to c5, white goes a4, b4, and knight a2. So Raja went bishop e7 and now a4. Again, if you take b takes a, then rook a4 is coming, b4, knight a2, and now short castle. Very interesting move. Uh, if you try some a5, then c3. B takes in knight c3. If you go short castle, then takes, takes. Here white is choosing between bishop d2 or knight takes b4, d5, e5, bishop b4, and bishop g5. Something similar we will see in our game. It was short castle. I should say that up to this point, and even some moves more, Murali Karthikeyan, he knew and he was simply blitzing out all his moves. So knight takes b4, d5, very typical idea. You castle short side, your king is in safety. You go d5, knight is hanging on b4, and now e5. Honestly speaking, never seen something like this, meeting d5 with e5 when your knight is hanging on b4. So bishop takes b4, and now bishop g5. Another alternative is to take e takes f, queen takes f6, and now you have c3, bishop d6. White is slightly better. If you go rook e3, g6, only move. Otherwise, you are having rook h3, bishop h7, queen h5, rook h3, different tactical ideas. So bishop g5, and now black is choosing between bishop e7 and knight bd7. If you go knight bd7, then takes, and c3, white is slightly better because of this bishop on b7, slightly restricted, and you don't have any e6, e5 ideas because always my knight jumps to f5. So bishop e7, e takes f, bishop f6. Another alternative is to take bishop f6 and b4. White is anyway slightly preferable. And now shocking tactical idea, which most likely was Murali's prep. Knight takes e6, f takes c, queen h5. and now g6, only move, because if you go h6, which is the which is not the easiest to see from the distance, uh, with the white pieces to take, and now queen g6, only move, and now queen h7, and now bishop g6. Only here you are having two moves. Bishop h5 finishes the game, but you also do have rook a3, after which white is much better. Yes, of course, if king e7, then we simply take queen g7 and then queen takes b7. Of course, Raja played g6, bishop takes g6. Only move is to play queen d7 or very similar queen c7, rook takes e6. H takes g, queen g6, queen g7, the strongest takes the strongest, and now white is slightly better, no doubts, with the four pawns against the minor piece, against the knight. Uh, and I can say that rook d1 was the first move Murali played uh, himself. So rook d1, the best according to computers is to play rook f8. White is better, but it's something like 0.30 for white, not more than that. King f7, bishop g5, and here d4 would have been stronger. Rook e8, h4, rook e5, and here after c3, white is better and much better. You probably don't rush, you don't force anything, you just go c3, you slightly improve your position. But of course, always easier when you see the evaluation and you have engines next to you, uh, criticize or suggest improvements. I also fully understand Murali. He decided to play something forcing, not let opponent to consolidate the position. F4, rook e2, rook d5, and now beautiful tactical idea. Rook takes, knight a5, not allowing any c4 ideas. This. And we face a very unique and interesting endgame. White is having four pawns for the knight, and all kind of sacrifices are possible to enter opposite color bishop endgame. King e3 here, for example, computer likes knight c6. Bishop e6 was played, king d4, bishop f5, b4, and now here Raja had amazing resource which he saw but he didn't play. So bishop takes c2, b takes a, and you go king g6. You don't let any h5. And if king e5, now the only move is to play king h5. Honestly, I saw that king h5 is the only move. I think you simply prepare king h5, king g4, because now white does not threaten much, because f5, bishop f5 is coming, h5, king h5 is coming, but I think white is preparing some bishop d8 and then f5. And if bishop f5, h5. Though I'm not sure. Though I'm not sure, because king h5. Now if f5, bishop takes f5 comes, and king takes f5 stalemate, and this king g4. Most likely here white is preparing bishop d8 and then f5, and if you take h5. And king h5 only move and king g4 only move, and this position uh, is a drone. So instead of taking bishop c2, Raja Rithvik went knight c6, and here he took on c2, but now h5. So white gets pawn on h5, and this is very easy win for white. h6, attacking the pawn, king b6, bishop f6, a5, and simply here you are in Zugzwang, because with the bishop you don't have any moves. Either you are losing your pawn on a6 or you are allowing h6, h7. This just h7 and then takes, and then king b6, a6, a7, and now I'm threatening f5, f5, f6, and now bishop g3 and bishop h4. So if you move the bishop, then f7 finishes the game. If you move the king, then I'm simply playing king c7. If you go king d6, then f7 anyway. Such an interesting game, such a prep up to move 24, and maybe something new. And at least for one game, you can maybe even try in a classical game. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Uh, Leave your comments. What do you think about this opening, about this game, and especially about the prep of Murali Karthikeyan? Also, later on, they reached a very interesting uh, endgame. Thank you very much. Hope to see you very, very soon. Bye bye.